It's story time. It's story time. It's story time with Miss Tion. Welcome to Miss Tion's Story Time. The title of today's story is The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town where the crinkle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and the birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grinkled grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grinkled grass grows, the old Wansler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Onceler, don't knock at his door. He stays in the Lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of the muffled moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks, and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of the rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great 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 grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count, to see if you paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his grooveless glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Slop! Down slops the whisper to your ear, and the old Wansler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he has smallest bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the sunny swans rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored tufts on the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloo suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the rudderless pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I've been searching for such trees as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh buttery milk. I felt a great heap of joy in my heart. I knew just what to do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffle tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted at the need. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, I saw something pop out of a stump of the tree I've chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister! Achoo! He said with a snow-dusty sneeze. I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees, for the trees have no tongue, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffle or tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there is no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree and I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is of the need to find something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, It's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool need. But the very next minute I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chimp came along, and he thought that the need that I had knitted was great. Happily brought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people would buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I rushed across the room and in no time at all, built the radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, Listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Wunstler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch. And in no time at all in the factory I built, the whole Monster family was working full tilt. We were all knitting the knees just as busy as bees to the sound of the chopping of the truffula trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffle trees at one smacker. We were making the knees 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week, he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, I'm the Lorax who speak for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go around, and my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Whistler, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my rows, I biggered my wagons, I biggered my loads. Of the knees I shipped out, I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more knees, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when the old nuisance Loras came back with more gripes. I am the Loras. Achoo! He sneezed and he snuffled and he snargled and sniffed. Whistler, he cried with a crufulous crook. Whistler, you're making much of smoggless smoke. My poor swummy swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up. Let me say a few words about Gluppity Glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making Gluppity Glup also sloppity slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Wunstler man, you. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Whistler. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap and say, bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffle trees into the needs which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffle tree of them all. No more trees, no more things, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncle and aunt and everyone all waved me goodbye. They jumped in their cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left neath the bad smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hissed himself and took leave of his place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long ago, but each day since that day, I sat here and worried away. Through the years where my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So catch! Calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffle seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffle seeds, and truffle trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffle, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest protected from axes that hack, then Dolores and all of his friends may come back. Thank you for joining Mrs. Tion's Storytime. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, it's story time. It's story time. It's story time with Miss Tion. I'll see you at our next story time.